Well, hello there, my crypto. What is it called? Ron, help me out here.
Well, you've been saying cryptopians.
Cryptopians, yeah. Well, I had a brain fart. Hell, I'm an old man. See, it old men's rule.
I think you could also use crypto nights.
Oh, that would be cool. Crypto nights, yeah. We ought to say that. Crypto nights. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. Crypto nights.
Take your time. It's just a show. We'll all wait, Rod.
I know you will. Hell, I'm in control. Of course, I guess they are. They could just all our crypto.
That's right, baby.
Turn the volume or thing off. I don't know.
They'll just move on to somebody that makes sense.
That moves a little faster.
That's right.
What's the matter with the world today?
They know when they get on their video, they just started at the 3-minute mark. They skip all the BS out, man.
We can't blame them there.
No, I can't.
Hell's bells. What's going on, Ron?
And you got to watch your tongue because we're getting some. I mean, the words you're saying aren't bad, Rod, but we've had a few where they've taken. YouTube has zapped this baby, and they won't let me appeal it or anything. And I can't think of anything we're saying wrong except an occasional HE double toothpicks.
Oh.
But I don't know if that's triggering it or what it is. But anyway, let's move on.
Some of them guys use boards worse than that. Of course, they may not be getting paid. I don't know.
Well, I think they have these bots that pick up. I don't think somebody sits there and watches all these videos. They must just have bots that clue them in. Some kind of techno deal. Something you and I would never understand.
Okay, well, I'll keep it clean.
Well, I'm not criticizing you now.
Well, what the hell then?
We'll talk later. Folks, lately we've been, or at least I have been on this kick, and Rod has too, about they're just more behind the scenes of what's going on worldwide financially and in the crypto market, world, industry, whatever you want to call it. This thing is going, whether we like it, whether governments like it, it's going forth. And we are in a prime opportune time right now to make some financial decisions that might better us in the long run financially. We might really be able to score on this thing if we can sit back and not sit back, but matter of fact, Rod, I was answering some comments today on some of our videos.
Yeah.
And lately we've had, we've done 2 or 3 videos lately on XRP and Ripple. Yeah. And it's just they've had some real newsworthy stuff, but so many of the comments were reflective of, but the price is dropping, and they took another hit on the price. And I guess my comment is, folks, quit worrying about the price of these blasted things and visualize the development that's going on, like Ripple. Yeah. Who cares their price dropped 20 cents? Look at what they're doing long term, what they're putting in place, what their development team is doing. The price will catch up. And it's the same with a lot of these things. We spend so much time looking at that coin market cap, and yeah, there's some, if I'm looking to buy, of course I'm going to watch that. But when I sit back and focus on where this stuff is headed long term, yeah, it's time to buy. But anyway, you just can't worry about the price all the time. There's bigger fish to fry. There's things going on that's going to be...
This little... Sorry.
Okay, folks, sorry we had some technical difficulties there. We couldn't quite hear each other, so I hope you caught part of that, what we already talked about, so we don't have to rehash it.
Yeah, we had a snowstorm past couple of days, and it's been playing havoc with our internet and stuff. So
yeah, that's true. But a few episodes ago, Rod, we talked about Arizona.
Yeah, we did.
Coming on board and taking Bitcoin to pay taxes with.
It did.
That was a real positive sign.
Yeah.
Ran across this article here about Georgia
Doing the same thing.
Probably doing the same thing. You know, and these things kind of snowball. You know, once somebody starts something, they all kind of want to get in on it, looks like. But these are positive signs of what we just talked about the long-term goals and projections of this. And things are rolling forth. So we've been reading the last day or two about some interesting things. There was in Venezuela, and we know that we've, as a U.S., we've put sanctions on Venezuela down there, saying that he's kind of a dictator and this and that. And
human rights thing.
Yeah. And again, we know better than to believe everything we read or hear on the news. So about 3 days ago, I think Venezuela came up with their own cryptocurrency called the Petro-Coin. And they called it Petro because it was going to be backed by petroleum. And they're a huge oil country. They have massive supplies of oil down there.
Yep.
And I didn't pay much time. I mean, the article was there, and I didn't share it. I mean, it was on the YouTube around and stuff, so we just kind of let it go.
Well, we did mention it.
Did we?
Yeah, okay. I remember mentioning it. Yeah.
All right, I don't remember. But then, on the first day that they opened their pre-ICO, they're even doing an ICO, and I think I read today, and I can't place the article, but I think I read that it's based on the Ethereum blockchain. If I'm wrong and somebody knows better, let me know in the comments. But the first day, I think they sold $735 million worth of their Petro tokens or coins. And a huge amount. So I got thinking, and then yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, Rod, I started reading where they now have started a second coin called the Petro-Gold. And it's going to be backed by gold.
Oh.
So at this point, it catches my attention. I said, wait a minute, 2 cryptos, we have sanctions, so what's going on? So I started digging into things. And let's hope some of this makes sense as we go through it. This is just an article verifying for you folks of what we just said. Venezuela launches pre-sale of oil-backed national cryptocurrency. It's the world's first national oil-backed crypto called the Petro, PTR. It came live Tuesday, so that was a few days ago. 82 million Petros are already available for purchase for fiat currencies and top cryptocurrencies. Although not for Venezuelan bolivars. They are not letting these things be sold for their own fiat currency. And
they're wanting outside money in.
Well, the thing is, they, along with everybody else, are sitting on so many U.S. dollars, Rod, because that's what we've been exchanging for oil and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we mentioned a couple, you're right, we did mention this, because now it's coming back to me that we mentioned a couple days ago on one of the videos that the Venezuelan government was selling these new crypto coins for U.S. dollars. They kind of wanted, whether it be banks or exchanges or whoever's holding these dollars, to turn them in for their new crypto. And so as I got thinking about that some more too, I think they're kind of giving the old middle finger to the U.S. on these sanctions.
Yeah, and euros.
And what euro? That's right, because they also have sanctions there too.
Yeah.
So let's move forward on this. But they said that they're going to sell these first ones, the pre-ICO, for the big cryptos like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, maybe, and U.S. dollars and European fiat.
Yeah, euros.
The euros. Thank you.
No problem.
So here's the article. Then it went on to, now Venezuela announces Petro-Gold 1 day after launching the Petro. So, like I said, this is what grabbed our attention. We started.
Now, let me ask you something, Ron. Does Venezuela have a lot of gold too?
Well, I don't know how much they have in that. And I didn't catch anything in the article that said how much they had. So I don't know on that, Rod. And you might be able to Google that real quick. I'll tell you, folks, the biggest gold buyers right now seem to be Russia and China. They are stockpiling this stuff like crazy. There's articles all the time about that. So let's move on. So now we have Venezuela. They've got 2 cryptos. They're accumulating all these US dollars and the euros, wondering why are they selling crypto anyway. It just kind of caught that very interesting. Now over here in the US, seeing this, we have Mendez hints at US action on Venezuela's controversial crypto. So they're kind of saying now in Congress and the Senate and stuff that, hey, we need to clamp down on this. I mean, last month, Senators Bob Mendez and Marco Rubio, they're blasting the Petro. And my first thoughts on this is, who the heck are we? We put sanctions, so let's find out what the sanctions are all about. And Rod kind of mentioned what the quote unquote reasons are, and that's because he's being so harsh with his people down there, and they're in a massive problem with finding food and a lot of things. But that's what. Then today I caught on to this Zero Hedge article. Okay, folks, we found it. Sorry about that. I went through an article to highlight some things so I could find what I'm looking for. Now I couldn't find the blasted article, but we got it now. Okay, this is by Zero Hedge. Venezuela is about to ditch the dollar in a major blow to U.S., and here's why it matters. Now, this article is not recent. This article's a little bit back, but it ties into what we're talking about. So bear with us. I know we're talking about the petro U.S. dollar and how we're the world's reserve currency and all that. It sounds political, but it's tying into this crypto, I believe. Now, here the president made Thursday, and this is back in August, so it is a while back. Back then, he was even saying he was looking to free itself from the U.S. dollar. And he goes on, he says, Venezuela is going to implement a new system of international payments that will create a basket of currencies to free us from the dollar. Now, he might have known back then that they were already working on crypto. And I'm not saying that basket of currencies, we know what normally that is. But I think at that point, they already knew they were headed to some type of crypto. Because you just don't decide a week ago that you're going to do a crypto and get it all together.
No, you don't.
No, it takes a little time. You've got to hire the right developers. You got to, if they're on Ethereum, you got to put it on there. You got to create the coins or tokens. So he goes on here. Ethereum Advanced. Okay, now we're talking about this guy's book. William Clark wrote a book, Petrodollar Warfare. Now, folks, I'm not going to bore you with this, but we explained what the petrodollar is. And back in Nixon's era, he said, Saudi Arabia, I'm going to go ahead and develop all your oil wells if you'll only sell oil in U.S. dollars. And he did the same throughout the Middle East. And that's called the petrodollar. And so everybody in the world, including China and Russia, for them to buy oil from Saudi Arabia and some of these other countries, they need U.S. dollars. So what does that do? That keeps our economy boosted up. Everybody in the world needs our dollars just to buy oil.
Yeah.
Well, so he wrote a book about this guy, and this is a little bit of history stuff, but it was largely ignored by the mainstream media. Essentially asserts that Washington-led interventions in the Middle East and beyond are fueled by direct effect of the U.S. dollar. Now look back in the year 2000, when Iraq announced it would no longer use the U.S. dollar to sell oil on the global market. Well, what happens? We go over and we take out, who is it, Rod?
Hussein.
Who's Saddam Hussein? That's right. That's right. Do you think if their main main export was broccoli, we'd be over there? No. It's because all of a sudden they're not going to use the U.S. dollar, so we took care of it. Then in 2003, they talked about... no, that's when they invaded Iraq. Then in Libya, Gaddafi, same situation. He was punished for similar proposal to create a unified African currency backed by gold, which would be used to buy and sell African oil. And now today we have China and Russia. They're making a deal to do away with the U.S. dollar. So this is streamlining around. And this is at a zero hedge. Oh, this was the older one. And see, and then they were talking about Venezuela and stuff. I still haven't tied in my point yet, Rod. So we have these countries that are...
We're hanging on, waiting for it.
I'm sure. I'm lost myself, man. My point is going to be that this thing is moving forth. So we have countries that are banning the U.S. dollar, and they're taking on crypto. And it's not just Venezuela that's doing it. Here we have more countries ready to dump the U.S. dollar. That's not the one I wanted. We have Iran government changes tune on Bitcoin. It will develop its own cryptocurrency. So we got Iran looking at it. We've got
China looking at it. Russia looking at it.
Yeah,
Venezuela
Russia
looking at it. Man,
that's right.
Look at all of them.
Turkey, they're going to have the Turk-Coin.
Oh, yeah. Turkey.
Now, when they started announcing this stuff originally, I got thinking, now, wait a minute. If it's government-controlled, it's centralized, it's not the same as crypto, because we're on the decentralized system where we can cut the middlemen and the control out. Well, if these guys are building their platforms on the Ethereum blockchain, it might be a decentralized system. So then it's like, well, what's their motives? What's their ultimate goals? Besides punishing the U.S. by saying, hey, you're not going to be the top dog anymore. You put sanctions on me, we're just going to get rid of the U.S. dollar here. Now, true, Venezuela probably won't affect us that much. But if you start getting everybody chiming in and doing the same thing, it could have an effect on our economy and what we're doing.
And also Europe's economy, if they go the euro, you know.
Exactly right.
And the pound, you know. I mean, you know, everybody, yeah, this could be a worldwide thing.
So there's two ways to look at it. One is that the positive note is hey, maybe these countries are like the test dogs to get this thing rolling forth. And to see that it's going to be big, and they have to have somebody that's going to test it nationally anyway. So this could be the real positive side of looking at this, that they are all in cahoots kind of, and they're going to roll forth this new financial way of settling our value with each other through crypto. Or the negative way could be that, hey, they're looking to do some harm to the U.S., and they've decided we could probably do it through crypto. We don't need the U.S. dollar anymore. Or it could be a thing of both. I don't know. I don't know who's in cahoots with who. But this stuff caught my curiosity, that there are things in the works behind the scenes that none of us seem to know about. And things are transpiring that are very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. We live in interesting times, that's for sure.
Well, it is, and we, Rod, you and I both believe that this crypto thing is gonna go forth.
Oh, it has to.
Come heck or high water, yeah, it's gonna be the system.
And you know what I was thinking when you was going through there, Ron, about talking about the cryptos everybody's starting to make their own crypto, the Turkish coin, the Chinese coin, the Russian coin, the Venezuela coin, and all the other countries that will probably chime in on it that are small and want to make an impact in the world. Then you start thinking, you know, this platform that XRP's on could be pretty good. That'd be a way to exchange all these coins pretty quick. I don't know.
Well, especially, yeah, and there's other platforms that are working, Rod, to do that. I mean, look at what Coinbase does. They have a plugin now for all merchants. So, and we talked about that. If you order something online, it's either Visa, PayPal, or Coinbase. So you can click on the Coinbase, and now you have access to the 4 main cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
And then now on the 26th, we got Litecoin starting their LitePay, which is, and that's directly a result of using Litecoin, and they're going to branch that thing out worldwide, I believe. So there's things in the works that are putting this stuff on the map. Now, and that's what I'm saying. We're not hearing enough. We don't have enough of the pieces of the puzzle to know exactly where or when this thing's going to happen. But I think it's moving forward, Rod. So you're exactly right.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really positive in one way and could be a negative in another way, just depending on, like you said, how you look at it.
And I think, honestly, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to see where this thing's headed, even with Venezuela. If our government decides to clamp down on them, because, again, the reason being it's about the oil. It's not about how he's treating his people. Come on. We're not all that big humanitarian that we think we got to be everybody's policeman and all that stuff. It's about oil. And if they're going to shortchange us and go to crypto, that's either planned or it's to give us a good kick right where we might need it.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, I know we're rambling on now, but we can talk a little more afterwards, Rod, and we'll let these good folks go. And it's interesting times.
Yes, it is.
Back to you, Rod.
Well, we appreciate you crypto maniacs out here looking at this stuff and following us. And I hope you did follow us all the way to the very end, because we want to say thumbs up and God bless.